So when you're looking at the title, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, duh, of course Nigeria is not America. Well, you'll be surprised on how people think when it comes to topics such as politics in Nigeria and what they expect. In this video, I'm just going to talk about just my observable reality of politics in Nigeria, how people view it, and even other social issues that happen in Nigeria and the response that I see a lot of us in the diaspora, specifically first generation Nigerians, have on what should be done in Nigeria. Hey, this is Tony A with YORUBADE, a channel focused on topics related to the West African diaspora, specifically pertaining to business and personal development. If you want to join the tribe, like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, remember to click that bell so that you get alerted when new videos drop. Alright, so when I'm in these clubhouse rooms, I notice that when the topic of politics comes up, a lot of us get into the mindset of thinking, okay, Nigeria needs to follow it, to do it this way, just like America. Now, they don't specifically say just like America, but what they're implying is Nigeria needs to operate more like America. And I don't believe that they fully understand how diverse or how different Nigeria is and how we are as a people culturally. So my critique on how Nigeria runs itself and a lot of other African nations, West African nations, is that they adopted a system from the British or Europeans or a foreign entity. When they were colonized, they took on their governance system, and till this day, they still run it in that way. Now, I believe that it's time to do away with how the Western world governs themselves, because that's just not our culture. If you really think about it, a lot of our presidents act like they're kings. So, and it's understandable because our culture is really based on a monarchy. That's how we grew up. That's how our ancestors were raised and trained under the kingdomship. Like, that's how we operate. Plus, when you have so many different tribes, it's impossible for everyone to be on a line and just act like we're all the same people, and we just don't see ourselves that way. One example, or not example, but one suggestion that I thought that we should probably do, a lot of West African countries to do, is switch up the way you do your governance. So instead of voting every 4 years and you have the two main parties going back and forth, the same way how they do Democrats and Republican here, and you see how inefficient it is here, they should consider, our countries really should consider going to a monarchy system where you have one top person, either, I guess, a sort of a benevolent dictatorship, but at the same time, they don't have absolute power, maybe some type of fusion of that, so that we know, okay, look, we got this one leader, he's correct for the job, he's gonna do what he needs to do, or he or she is gonna do what they need to do. Really, it's probably gonna be a he. So, and we can move forward. We don't have to worry about every 4 years a change in policy or something like that. Now, what I learned about just how our ancestors used to govern, our chiefs and the kings, was they didn't have absolute power. So they wasn't free just to do whatever they want. Because what would happen is, if they're not taking care of business and they're not fulfilling the job that they were brought up to do, or are required to do, then their advisors can go ahead and kick them out and bring someone else new. So that was just something interesting, where that's a bit of a democracy. Maybe not all the way as how it would be termed in Western world, but who cares what the Western world says? We got to do things that make sense to us. And so when I read that, I was just like, oh, okay, so if someone's not doing their job, these advisors that are picked, you could call them representatives, oust them. And it's just like, okay, look, if you're not benefiting the community, you can't be here. And then you'll pick another one or his agreement. And I think that's the best way. Well, I'm not going to say the best, but I think that's a plausible way we can start running ourselves. A great example of this is China. So everyone knows China is a dictatorship. and they run their country with that one person and Xi Jinping, and he does what he needs to do. Now, within 50 years, you see how much China has changed dramatically, and I attributed it to they didn't have to worry about the same issues that happens when you have this type of democracy where you have these different parties all competing for power. In China's situation, everyone is on one accord and everyone is in line, and there's one message, just one focus, and there's no consenting ideas. Now, you can have the fallout from that where the right ideas are not being brought forward, but also you can have the benefit of it where it's not much confusion and everyone is moving forward. There's not a lot of second guessing, there's not a lot of hesitation. The political BS that goes on, at least in this country, everyone's like, no, we're moving forward, and people see the benefit from it. So I think that's just switching up the way we govern ourselves, and even it can start with the name, because we didn't name our country or give our country these borders. It was another entity. But just starting with the governance part, I think if we focus on what makes sense to us, what do the people feel like, what's our culture, and implement that into the way we govern ourselves, then we will have a better income when it comes to, or not income, but outcome when it comes to protecting people's rights and making sure that we're actually progressing in the way that we want to progress. So that's my thoughts. This is where we don't have to be like America. We don't have to be like the UK or Canada. We can do things in our own way, the same way China did things in their own way, and they are successful. We can be successful in our own rights if we just listen to what exactly we value and what exactly do we want for ourselves instead of what other people are telling us to do. Now, I try to go into these clubhouse conversations and try to, just say my piece on a different way of thinking, and usually it's pretty good, but it's just a constant thing where I see when it comes, it's a lot of us just get so consumed with the critiques and saying Nigeria's doing this and why isn't this efficient, and if it's not politics, then it's just like the infrastructure and other stuff that goes on that way, and it's just like, hey, look, enough of the complaints. Let's start coming up with solutions. What makes sense? Should we just change everything? It's a big thing coming on with as far as like the Constitution in Nigeria and reforming it and changing things up. Yeah, we should be thinking in this track. Things can't stay the same for us to get better. It has to keep on improving. It has to move on. So this is what I notice, and hopefully we can start having these conversations where we say to ourselves, okay, look, who do we want to be? What do we want to be recognized as? What are our strengths and what are our faults? Our faults, let's get rid of them. And then our strengths, let's make it bigger. And then also learn from other cultures and learn what seems to work for them. And then personalize it so that it works great for us and what we're trying to do in our mission in our respective countries.